This video is sponsored by MPB. Scotland's declared national animal is the mythical unicorn, and it's not real. It's also home to the mythical Loch Ness monster. It's also not real. But here in this small Scottish town of Kookaburra, another mythical animal is known. But this one's real.
So they're here.
We all know Australia has kangaroos. We all know China has pandas. We all know the lions of Africa. But what about those animals that go under the radar? What about those animals that you wouldn't associate with that place? Animals so rare only a handful of people see them. You may not know they are here, but they live among us. My name is Cookie and this is Animal Anomalies UK, the Laughing Kookaburra. This Animal Anomalies is sponsored by the lovely MPB. MPB is the go-to for used photo and videography equipment, and if you bought from the MPB platform, you could save up to 30% than if you were to buy new. I myself and loads of my friends have used the MPB platform, and the experience so far has been absolutely fantastic. This stuff here was from MPB, so this is the Canon R5, this is the Canon RF 100-500, and the camera card that is in there all came from MPB. It all came super fast. It's a super easy platform to use. Type in the thing you're after and browse through the options that are there. It shows you the search results. You select the one you're after and it will show you how many are available and for what price and what condition they're in. So I got my DJI Mini 3 Pro, which came super fast to go along with this setup, and that's what we're using for today's video. So for your next gear purchase, why don't you head over to the MPB platform? The link is in the description down below. Anyway, let's go find an anomaly. Over the last couple of years, I've been seeing photos on Facebook pages by confused residents of the UK that show what appear to be a kookaburra. As I'm sure you're aware, the UK shouldn't have kookaburra. They're native to the eastern side of Australia. But here we are, people are seeing them anyway. Kookaburra are the largest of the kingfisher family and are well known over the world for their distinctive laughing call. Unlike the beautiful native kingfisher we have that likes to catch fish, these guys smash absolutely anything and everything they can get a hold of. Here's me feeding one a chip in Australia. They're a social animal and most often will pair or group up and can be seen on telephone wires or lampposts. Again, in Australia. So why now are there some being seen in a small town in Scotland? Well, I'm going to investigate and hopefully find them. So I've head to the lovely little town of Kookaburra to hear more from the local people.
So I was sat here having a Zoom meeting on about sort of 9:30 in the morning and deep in conversation, but then something out of the corner of my eye, I saw a dark bird fly through across where the windows are and land on the fence that's just out there. I looked at it and I had to stop the Zoom chat because it was so unusual. I said to the person I was Zooming with, I'm really sorry, but I am just going to have to go and look at the bird that's landed in the garden because it's really quite strange. And so I ran upstairs and did a sketch from memory. I remember the beak being really distinctive.
Can you hold up your sketch for me so I can see it?
This is my passable sketch of a kookaburra.
Look at that.
Done very quickly.
It's so good though. That's off memory, right?
Yeah.
That's actually really quite impressive. It's a really good drawing from Emery, and you can see here her deliberation as to what bird it may be. Just down the road from Kirsty's house though, at the lifeboat station, Emma had also had a recent encounter with something unusual.
I was here with quite a few of my colleagues on Sunday, and we happened to be just standing over there, and the next minute one of the kookaburras just landed right here, just on this fence, and its friend was up on the roof there of the Army Cadet building.
This is Emma's photo of the kookaburra sitting on the metal fence. As you can see, very much a laughing kookaburra there. She hadn't seen it since, but it's all good information for me as I now head over to my final kookaburra witness, Bradley, the golf course greenkeeper.
We've actually been seeing the kookaburras on the golf course for probably 18 months now. First spotted them round about the 4th green in April 2022, and then it started becoming a common occurrence seeing them thereafter. Got photos of them with worms in their mouth, frogs in their mouth, mice in their mouth. They seem to eat everything.
So what have we got here?
So we've got 50 odd photos, and that's just a choice of 50 photos.
And this is all from the golf course?
All from the golf course.
Flipping it. You get really close as well, eh?
Oh aye. I mean, having a half decent phone helps, but I mean these ones here, you're probably no further than 5 metres away from them. Yep. I mean, some of the colours on them is They're beautiful birds.
Yeah.
I know, they're a great asset. Tremendous for the town.
So one thing I had learnt from speaking with Kirsty, Emma and Bradley was their affection towards the Kookaburra. They liked that they were seemingly a part of the town, and it appeared that there were two knocking about together. So for me, I wanted to see these newly beloved residents of the area. I've got a few places of particular interest, with one being this area here. It's called D Walk. It's where Kirsty and Emma both had their sightings. There are a lot of trees and wires for the Kookaburra to sit on around here. Not forgetting that there's probably some good hunting opportunities to be had too. And also, we've got the golf course. Lots of trees and places for the Kookaburra to hunt, and as Bradley had already mentioned, they will eat anything. And this is a big green open space, so I think this may be my best bet. So, here we go, searching for the Kookaburra. It's day one. Right, I'm here at the golf course on the start of the search for these Kookaburra. Now, could be anywhere out here if we are to find them. To be fair, it could be even sat on something like that seagull, or on the houses here. So just going to make our way around here and then into the golf course, but I'm keeping my eyes peeled for anything because I've been told they're often seen around these houses. Okay, here we go. Areas like this are of keen interest because Kookaburra, they eat lizards, mice, anything that will find itself in longish grass. So golf courses probably a good shout because golf has rough, right? They call it rough. It's basically longish grass, not the fairway, which is shortcut. And there's quite a few places here actually. As I just come onto the course, if I look around, look at this, you can see lots and lots of long grass are of use. So this golf course is quite good, but the weather's naff, so they could be off hiding somewhere or perched up in a tree. Bradley, the greenkeeper who I interviewed, is working here this week, so he's going to keep an eye out for me, and if he sees anything he'll call it in, but he hasn't seen them here in a couple of weeks, so I don't know, we might not hear from him, but it'd be good if we did. Damn, there really is a lot of places where these Kookaburra could be, and there's a lot of places for them to feed on or hunting. This is difficult, but I haven't seen anything yet. Now you're probably thinking, Cookie, how did the Kookaburra actually end up in that area? Well, I'm actually heading in the direction of the place responsible. Many years ago, Galloway Wildlife Park was a thing. It hosted a wide variety of animals and people enjoyed it for a long time. Towards the end though, attendees of the park noticed it was becoming overgrown and unkept. And in 2017, it closed its doors for good. This is where the Kookaburra have come from, is past those trees. It's no secret around here that the wildlife park over years has had some pretty bad times. Few animals escaping and the Kookaburra being two. So in here, or the other side of this tree line, is where the old wildlife park used to sit. I think by looking at Google Maps, some of the buildings are still there. Now, I don't want to go diving through, but I've got a drone, so I'm going to send it up and go and have a look. I can sort of see, oh yeah, oh okay, so there's still buildings. Oh, this is really weird. You can actually see like pretty much the whole thing of what it used to be. Oh, that's actually really quite cool. You can see the old enclosures where animals used to have been, and I think there's a car there as well and a house, so I think someone lives there, which is quite interesting. When this park closed in 2017, before it, they weren't known for escapees, but they did have a lot. So what had happened, like over the years, things like red pandas escaped this place. You also had other things like meerkats, porcupine, which were reportedly running around the golf course. And then the big one was a lynx. So a lynx escaped from here and was running around. It was subsequently captured, but the red panda was out for about 2 months. So it's pretty crazy, and it's pretty cool to see it like as it is now. It looks defunct. I don't think there's anything in there now. Like there's an old playground and all that sort of stuff. There is enclosures and what looks like aviaries, but everything looks a bit derelict in there now. But I think it's really interesting to see it. It's really interesting to be in an area that once housed all these sorts of weird, cool creatures. Like red pandas used to be in this place that I'm hovering over right now. So that's definitely interesting for me. But just looking at this, you can tell it's all sort of overgrown. It all sort of it's just been forgotten, I guess. Like nothing looks to be sort of kept up with cleanliness wise, or just anything really. It all sort of looks a bit forgotten about, which is quite sad. But there's definitely like an infrastructure there of what once used to be. You can imagine like years ago, people would have gone there and would have really enjoyed it. There would have been some really cool animals on display. But nowadays, it looks like it's someone's potentially house, and they've just got a huge garden with nothing in it. It's quite sad really, but that's where the Kookaburra have come from. Whether it was an intended release or accidental is unclear, but this was their home. I didn't see anything at the golf course though, but knew I'd be back to check some more. Bradley was working the course while I was there, so I did have an extra set of eyes on the lookout for the Kookaburra as well. I moved on to the next location, which is D Walk. This is where Kirsty and Emma have both had their sightings. So this is one of the next hotspots potentially for the Kookaburra. Now, there's a few places I've been told which might be good. One of them I'm looking at just over there. So this is the Kookaburra Bridge. Apparently the Kookaburra have been sighted on there, but also these many trees that go down Deep Walk, they've also been sighted there. Now one of the difficulties I'm having is there's a lot of birds, lots of pigeons, lots of seagulls, lots of crows, rooks. There's a lot going on in the trees, so my attention's constantly being drawn to something else, and it's obviously quite difficult. I walked along D Walk for a few minutes. It does look a good area, and I'm confident that in my time here I will see something. But the weather decided at this moment that wasn't going to be the case. Right, I'm going back to the car. I'm going to wait for this rain to go away, and then, oh god, I'm going to get in the woods and see if I can find a Kookaburra in the woods. Oh, this is tragic. Flipping neck. Look, camera can't even focus because we're that wet. Jesus Christ. Has that worked? No, shocker. Right, I'm waiting for the rain. Obviously, man's got to be fueled, and what a place to get some fuel. Scrantastic. Now, one of the things I like about the Animal Anomalies series is it sometimes inspires people to go and do the things that I've shown in the video. So, I've had it with the wallabies of Inchconacum before. People have gone there because I went there. They've gone and seen the wallabies. It's really cool. Now, if you want to come and find Kookaburra in Kookaburra, Scrantastic is a place to go. Definitely get into Scrantastic. It's well, it's wicked. The food's wicked. Just a nice little place in a nice little area, so definitely come over here. I'd eaten my food from Scrantastic. The weather had calmed a little, so I took to the woods on the next part of this day one search. Right, so I've just arrived at this woods. It looks like a typical Scottish woods, so I'm quite excited to get in there. But I've just seen something really interesting, and I didn't actually think this was still here. So look at this. Red squirrels. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't realise they were in this part of Scotland. Now, where I am in Scotland is pretty much like on the border. I'm not that far away from England, right? And I thought the greys had taken over. So if I get to walk in here and see some red squirrels, mate, that's an absolute result. Now, I'm obviously here for the Kookaburra, don't get me wrong. Like, the Kookaburra is the main focus. But I will never say no to a red squirrel. Absolutely not. Now, I actually think about it, an area like this could be quite good for a Kookaburra. So I think in this country, Kookaburras are really sort of going to be eating worms, lizards, mice, and woodlands. It has a lot of that stuff going on, so it definitely could be a place I could see one. Although in front of me, there is a hide. Hold on. Oh no, it's a pheasant. I thought it was a red squirrel. Flipping heck. Here we go, here's the hide. It's definitely laid up for squirrels and not birds. You can see by the boxes on the side. These things here. That is definitely, it's got monkey nuts in it, so that's definitely for squirrels. Now I'm wondering if I sort of like loiter for a little bit, hello, there's a woodpecker. If I loiter for a little bit, am I going to get lucky and see a red squirrel? Oh, I can't get in a hide, sadly, it's bolted, but alright, I'm going to be quiet and hopefully I'll get a bit of action with the reds if they're about. Now, because I can't get in his hide, I am crouching down behind a wall in the hope that the squirrel fancies it. Love red squirrels, who doesn't, you know, the native squirrel. I know it's contrary to the video because we are searching for a non-native, something that shouldn't be here, but these should. And I want to see them. So I perched up behind this wall in the hope of a little red squirrel appearing. It turns out, in this area, there's a real fight back against the greys. Pine marten are in the area too, so they get to go after any greys that appear here. Now, I didn't see any greys in my time here, but I did see something else. There's a red! There's a red! I'm like 5 meters away from a red squirrel. Oh, mate, I've had such a bad night's sleep, my God. Alright, so I've just woke up, it's about 6 o'clock, and now it's going to be a good time for me to get up, try and find this kookaburra on day 2. I'm knackered, mate. It's flipping out. Like, you can probably hear it. It's so windy. It's raining. And it's just generally not very pleasant. And it wasn't a pleasant night's sleep. But here we are. Got stuff to do. Got something to find. Alright, let's go. So I got up and went off on my search for the kookaburra. I was thinking I'd maybe hear them laughing, but there was no luck for me, unfortunately. I started my search here at the golf course and then manoeuvred myself to D-walk, and essentially for hours and hours, this is all I did. I'd search in one area, not find anything, and then I'd move on to the other area. In the meantime, I'd be chatting to people who hadn't seen or heard them recently, and it was proving really quite difficult. 2 birds in a town is a big task, but one place I hadn't checked was north of the bridge. So after about 7 hours I thought, why not? What's the worst that can happen? Right, so I've just driven over the bridge to try out this new area because I've just gone around in circles, seen nothing, and I've just pulled up to this one thing because I've just seen something on the roof, got really excited. Right up there next to that chimney. Thought it was a kookaburra. It's not. I got really excited for it as well. It wasn't to be. So after a long old search and finding absolutely nothing, I went back to the campsite I was staying at to relax ahead of an evening search. And that's when it all kicked off. Guys, we got big news. We got big news. I've just got back to the campsite and literally as soon as I've got here, I've got a message. And I've got a message from Bradley, the greenkeeper at the golf club. He's got a kookaburra. So we're going now. Hopefully it's still there when I get there. Right, there he is.
2 kookaburras.
Nah.
One in the tree over there.
Oh snap, yeah.
And there's one on that tall gravestone. Just hidden by the...
Sick. Nice one, mate.
They're just spraying away and one of them was just in the tree watching us.
Look at that, man. That's so cool.
So they are here.
Kookaburras in the UK.
Thriving and surviving.
There's probably less than 5 of these in the entirety of the UK. Look in this tree. Oh my word. Look at that. It's a kookaburra. It's amazing being able to see these kookaburra in the UK. Not a place they should be in, but a place they will absolutely do very well in. They're just such a gorgeous bird, a real icon of Australia, and it's right here in the wilds of the UK. They're mostly known for their laughing call, and while I was with them, unfortunately I didn't get to hear it, but there were murmurs of them trying. I am reliably told though that these two do create an absolute racket in the mornings, and for those native wildlife conscious, I have some good news and I do have some bad news. The area of Kookaburra absolutely adores their kookaburra. They believe it to be a nice addition to their town, and why wouldn't they? It's a charismatic, gorgeous animal. Problem is though, this. Look at what he's just caught. This is one of the kookaburra catching and eating a lizard while I was there. A non-native animal attacking a native animal that could be disastrous in the long term. Kookaburra are excellent hunters, and our native reptile and amphibian population wouldn't cope well with more of these in the UK. However, and now for the good news, these two kookaburra aren't a breeding pair. They're both males. So right now, there's no chance that there could be sustained damage to our native reptiles and amphibians. It's a real mix of emotions because on one hand, they are fabulous, but on the other, they're absolutely prolific killing machines. But either way you look at it, they won't be around forever. So if you do want to go and see them, head to Kookaburra, put some money into their economy, and have yourself an animal anomaly adventure.